Hey guys, it's Marcel with another interview. I actually have Kala Costa Crepo here on my side this time. Europe just finished the first round of the playoffs, and I think we just want to talk about like the first round, how every team stacked up, and expectations. Maybe some teams exceeded the expectations. What happened in the first round, like Vitality, Fnatic, and we just finished Unicorns of Love against Origin. Like, did you see those games going as expected?
I mean, initially I thought Vitality was going to win 3-1, but then I heard from everybody, yeah, Fnatic, they're looking stronger, but obviously felt a little wrong using that information from Scrim. So I went out on Twitter and said, like, yeah, 3-1 Vitality. I got wrecked. Sneakily deleted that tweet. And then on broadcast, and no, I think Fnatic played very well. However, I think every fight Fnatic won was still an overreaching of Vitality, where they overextended into a choke point, and then Febun had some nasty teleports. But still, I don't think G2 is going to make the same mistakes. And if they do it once or twice, I think they're going to learn at least, or punish Fnatic at different points. Because if Fnatic draft the composition that they did game one, where they had 3 losing lanes, they had the Ezreal in the bot lane, they had scaling top lane, I don't even remember what it was, but all I know is like every lane was losing, and then it casted it into Azir. If you do that against G2 Esports, the game is over. It's FF20, as I say in Europe, so I think that game would have been over. But Vitality, they couldn't bring it home. At one point, they took deep vision control left side, right side, and they did nothing with it. Cabochard, honestly, Cabochard and Vizicsacsi this weekend, two of the top 3 top laners at the start of the season, just looked very weak overall in this weekend.
And as for preparation, I mean, as a caster, like, what's your general take on like preparation? Like, how do you prepare for those games? Because I think you just have like 2 weeks or something to prepare for like a single best of 5. And as a team, how does it work actually, like in the team with the broadcast team?
I love playoffs because I really like focusing on a certain matchup, and because there's so little to gain from watching like the 2 matchups throughout the seasons, like 2 separate best of ones. I don't think there's any value for that. So we actually just focus on the meta, on what we expect picks and bans. We rank them up. And I worked a lot together with Martin. Despite we actually having a lot of banter on air where people are like, oh my God, does Crepo really hate Fischio? It's like, no, we're actually such a team that we share everything, all our notes. I call him for like 10 minutes at home at like 9 in the evening. I'm like, yo, can we talk about Sivir? Then he calls me, he's like, I need to talk about Baron Vision right now. And then we have... Yeah, I think we understood pick and bans really well, and we got the chance to cast together again in a TriCast, which was really enjoyable. And trying to predict pick and bans with him and actually having, I think, decent success rate in the first series was really entertaining, and it showed that the hard work paid off. And I just want to say I really love working with the entire team, but especially with Martin overall. Yeah, just have fun.
Have fun. Picks and bans, I think, is like pretty weird right now. The meta has shifted somehow in the last week, and I think we see like champions coming back, but not really finding success, right? So Azir, why is Azir such a bad champion in Europe? Like, why does no team know how to play this champion out of the sudden?
Yeah, so coming into the week, around Azir, the things we had prepared is like, okay, he has some poor matchups into like either a straight up assassin that kind of bypasses him in all-ins, or poke, like the Varus, etc. But it shows that the biggest weakness for Europe, at least to handle, is that Azir comps can't deal with double teleport. Azir himself never runs teleport, and even if he doesn't have the impact like Lissandra. So the whole reason around that is that in the mid game, you want to have your AD carry and support in the mid lane, and then you have your one of teleports on the side lanes, and you play a 1-3-1. Obviously, if you play with an Azir, you keep him static in the mid lane, and you play like a 3-1-1 or a 1-1-3. And maybe in scrims it works, but so far offline, every single like aggressive motion or action, you could see them hesitate because they had an extra TP on the other side. So no matter what play you made, you end up 4v5, 3v4, and it really seemed like that slowed the games down. And I think that's why, especially Vitality, with their slow style, they hesitated too much, couldn't make the Azir work. I think Origin will suffer the same fate against H2K, not because of the Azir, but because Power of Evil plays the same style. He has the Orianna mid lane with Cleanse, no teleport, who has to then put push prio. We had the Varus who actually can lose push prio in the mid lane, also static and stuck there. And then we had LeBlanc on the side lane with Ignite, but also no teleport. Versus a team like H2K. If H2K get the double TP style going, I think Origin will get wrecked. And therefore, I think they should sub in Xpeke.
Damn, I just wanted to ask you about that match, and you explained everything. That's perfect. Interview dream. But yeah, so you think that the double TP, like the 1-3-1 setup, is like probably the way how to play the meta, right? So if I look at other regions, Korea, for example, especially having like the strongest season out of any previous seasons, like 8 teams that are probably like really good right now. what do they do better? Like, what's like the concept behind why can they pull off like an Azir, or why can't they pull off those champions like LeBlanc maybe better to an extent than the European top teams?
For one, I still disagree with the notion that 8 top teams in Korea are better than everything else in the West.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, but I don't know. The notion's out there. I don't think you said that, but I just want to say, hold your horses. I think Korea has some really good teams though, and I think they're just smart. Like they figure out the game and they just figure out their limits. And it's sometimes really hard to understand because you come in with these notions that you get from watching a lot of Western League, and you're like, why are they doing this? Are they overemphasizing Dragon? I still think sometimes they are, but they know their limits and they know how to force a play and not wait until they're pushed in by 2 sides with a double TP. Like if you let a 1-3 run push you on both sidelines, yeah, well, the mistake's already made a minute and a half ago. And I think the beauty of Korea is that they know how to predict. They watch their sidelines a lot and they actually take care of them instead of being like, okay, yeah, we'll ignore that lane for a while until it becomes a problem. And they just make it work and have some really sweet Azir players overall too. Because I think that's in the series from Vitality versus Fnatic. There were times where Nuketox just needs to play more aggressive. If you pick a champ that's locked in a lane as Azir, you need to be at the enemy tower and just be ready to make the plays.
All right, okay. Just so we have that on camera, what's your like, general prediction for like the next round? Like who's gonna win between Fnatic and G2 and H2K versus Origin? What's your prediction?
I'm not gonna say games, because otherwise you cheat and you say 3-2 and like, oh yes, but I knew the series would be close, and then they just won that one game. No, H2K is gonna beat Origin, Fnatic's gonna lose to G2, H2K is gonna beat G2 in the final.
And the explanation is we gave plenty of reason in that interview already. Coaches, take notes maybe?
Yeah, you don't need explanation.
You don't need explanation. Yeah, that's good.
Delete the tweet if you're wrong.
Yeah, that's true. You just delete the tweet like I did. And of course, if you want to watch more stuff, we have them over at dscoreesports.com. Make sure to check out our other interviews of the playoffs coverage and see you guys next time.